Hello, duelists, and welcome to the King's Court. Now, this is going to be the 8th installment in my Locals Report series. This is a series here on the channel where I take a rogue deck, or it doesn't have to be rogue, it could be just any deck I enjoy personally, but usually rogue decks just interest me the most. This is where I take one and go compete in my Locals weekly Yu-Gi-Oh tournament and try to place as high as I possibly can in a way, and then I come back here and explain all my matches in a story time setting. Now, in case you couldn't tell from any returning viewers who've seen this before, knows that I usually play heroes. This week, I decided to play some a little different. Well, not even a little, very different. I decided to take with me this week my Madolche deck. Now, like I said to any previous viewers, I've been messing around with trying to finish up a couple of decks. And this is right next to Heroes, because that's the deck I play the most, obviously. But I've been really trying my best to try to work on my Madolche deck. And I'm really enjoying it right now. It's a lot of fun, super good. And actually, if you know how Madolches work, because they don't use their graveyard, the deck can easily run D-Shifter free, so that is a major slap to tier elements. And who boy, did I have to deal with that at my most previous locals I played at. So before we get to the meat and potatoes of the video, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you've ever played Madolche. And what do you think of the deck? Do you like Madolche? Do you think they can compete with the meta? Well, yeah, do you think they compete with the meta? And overall, what you think of the deck as a whole. So, now that that's done, shameless plug-in is over. Now, I had 3 matches at my most previous locals tournament. I played against Exosister, Sprite, and Tier Element. Shizu, obviously. Of course, that'd be the last one I'd have to play. So, obviously, these are some pretty high tier decks. I mean, obviously, Shizu, Tier Element being Tier 0 and the best, like, not even argue the best deck right now. But Sprite and Exosister are pretty nasty to deal with as well. So, that's why so I took Madolche, and I'm gonna be honest, nobody saw that coming. Everyone was super shocked. I'm pretty known around my area for playing heroes. Even a couple of my opponents who played against me before, or friends who know me, were expecting me to play heroes. So they basically were making, when they went first, they made combos and fields to play against heroes. Like a couple of people were playing bestials in their decks because that banishes dark monsters, and this deck does not play dark monsters whatsoever. So, really quickly explanation on the deck, because this is not only the locals report, but also a quick discussion on the deck. I think later on I'll do a full-on video dedicated to a discussion on the deck and how it plays against the meta, but that'll be later. So, Madolche actually did pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. The deck has a lot of toolbox utility, whereas it has a lot of cards that can deal with certain matchups. So, quick example. Let's see. This is one of the best cards that the deck ran that I noticed. Baguska stalled out so many people. Oh man, was this card fun to play, because in case you don't know, if you ever played against Baguska or used it, when it's in defense position, all your opponent's monsters will turn to defense position, they cannot change their battle position as long as Baguska is in defense and has an overlay unit, and all monsters that were turned to defense position when he was played will now have their effects negated. So this card messed up a lot of people when I went turn 2 when they made a field. It was honestly pretty nuts, especially against Exosister and Sprite, but they managed to get around it. Really quickly, I won my first round against Exosister. Round 2, I barely lost. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I bricked second game really hard. So the first game's really hard because I'm still actually perfecting the build. This is actually the build I'm running right now, different from when I was playing because I made improvements. But the deck, I'm still trying to, like, just like my hero deck, or the other decks I'm working on. So if you want to know those, like I said, like unsubscribe, shameless plug. Um, I'm always constantly trying to improve my decks. I'm trying to also always improve as a player in any game that I play. You know, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, Pokemon, all those. Whatever game I play, like especially like when I try to play competitively, I'm always trying to improve, even if I'm seeing positive results. So I'm working on trying to make Madolche as consistently strong as I possibly can. So yeah, game two, round two, I lost, but I bricked pretty hard. And round three, I'm not gonna lie, I lost because I played against the Shizu tier element and I didn't see D shifter. So outside of that, couldn't really do much. It happens. Man, I don't think anyone. Man, it's funny because everybody who was playing, who got called to play against, because like in my locals, nobody. There are only two people who are really well, not even really two, because one of them only came in this week from way out of town. But only one guy plays there who plays consistently there is playing Shizu Tier Element every week, and pretty much everyone accepts the fact they're probably going to lose that one, mostly because it's a Shizu Tier Element is really hard, and everyone else just wants to play the decks they want to, which is something I enjoy personally because that's what I try to do. So I ended up losing that one, but in all honesty, I didn't make it easy. The guy barely, like, I put up a crazy fight, and the guy barely managed to get it because he had to use up all his resources. So hey, that's something. So round one, I played against Exosister, and I played actually a friend of mine, who I played before. Like we're friends outside of just Yu-Gi-Oh as well, because he also plays Digimon. So we played against each other tons of times. He's actually the friend who you've seen in the our Digimon videos, where he's the guy who plays Set Control at our locals. So I have a lot of experience playing against him. But I was not expecting him to play Exosister. Usually he plays waifu decks. Like basically that's kind of his favorite thing to play. He was playing against, he was usually playing Sky Striker though. So I was not expecting Exosister. But I managed to get the game. I managed to get a good amount of on the field, and it's crazy. I managed to actually Zeus him. Like I went turn one. Basically, he used up all his stuff. I managed to go Baguska, stall him out until his stuff ran out, and I managed to go use Baguska when he had one overlay unit left, attack over his monster because it was in defense. Then I went Zeus and managed to make him send all his cards, and he couldn't really recover from that. So that was actually pretty nuts. I really like Zeus in this deck, honestly. So that was round one. Round two, Sprite. Man, Sprite is great, but I feel like, how can I put this? I remember before a Shizu tier element, people were really hyping up Sprite as the big bad of the format. And don't get me wrong, it's strong. It's very powerful. I am not going to undermine that whatsoever. But it's fun. It's crazy. I prefer playing against Sprite much more over Shizu tier element. Because yes, they can set up negates, like with Toad. But at least you can play your turn when it's your turn. And the guy I played against is a super cool dude. He actually is the guy who traded me my Zeus, so he's a really nice guy. So he was expecting me to play heroes though, because he went turn one, and he wanted to go into, he managed to set up his field to prevent heroes from going off, and he had one of the bestial cards, I forgot which one. Do they all banish Darks? Well, the main one that's like $50 right now. He managed to get that out, and he was waiting for me to go off, but he was not expecting me to play, because he had his field out, and legitimately, what I did, because it was turn one, he was expecting me to probably play Stratos or something. I pointed out I had no graveyard, and I went Madolche petting Sessor in defense mode. Oh man, that his face, the way his eyes is wide open was just great. Oh man, that was awesome. So yeah, that's how I started my turn off. I went Petting Sasor, and I used this effect in case you never. If anyone here has ever played Madolche or played against it, what it does, you have to have no monsters in your graveyard. That's how Madolches work. They don't. They want to have nothing in their graveyard. So, what it does, if she's special summoned, you can special summon a Madolche monster from your deck or your hand, and its level will be reduced by 1. So what you do is you go into Madolche putting Cess. She's level 5, so she'll now be level 4. And you can go off from there. Like, there's a really well-known sequence of combos for Madolche players that pretty much everyone knows. Like, I think when I do the full dedicated video to Madolche deck analyst, like, yeah, analyze the deck, and just I'll probably go over that combo quickly in my first playtest stand video. So look forward to that. But basically, that's how I opened up my turn, and he like I said, his eyes wide open. It was great, honestly. So, but unfortunately, and that's where I went Baguska. But unfortunately, so I managed to stall him out, and it got to the point where we both were literally just setting cards because we had nothing to play. It was crazy. So, but he managed to get the win because legitimately, I just ran out of cards to play, and it happens. This is my first time, like I said, playing Madolche in my locals, so I'm still learning the matchups against other decks. So I'm still trying to get that down. But like I said, I didn't make it easy. So he won the first. He won the whole round. He got it. He got it. And then I went to round 3, and I played against the cheesy tier element. And there you go. That's pretty much how it goes. I lost that round pretty bad. I lost it 2-0. What do you expect? It's a cheesy tier element because I couldn't draw. Like I said, the deck focuses on not playing a graveyard, so that makes D Shifter completely free in this deck. Because what you do is, if you're going turn 1, you'll set up your fields, and you'll have let's see really quick. You'll set up your fields, and you'll most likely have Chocolala mode, as well as your Sistart, as well as depending on your hand, really, 1 or 2 Promades. And when it's their turn, because Promade negates your opponent's monster effects, when they try to go off, you'll negate their effects, and then you can just go D-Shifter. And everyone, I swear, is running this card. You just go D-Shifter, and now all their monsters are basically going to be sent to the Shadow Realm. Completely banished all cards. Not just monsters, all cards. So that's why in Madolche, it works great because they don't even use their graveyard, so it's perfect. But I couldn't see it that round, so because he constantly kept milling my cards, I couldn't really do anything. Even if I got Chateau out, I wouldn't be able to do much because he already managed to set up his field as well because he managed to get Winda out, so after that, it was pretty much GG at that point. But, the guy was nice. He was cool. I played against him way back in the day. Like, man, I remember playing against him during Dragon Ruler format. Yeah, that was it. He was playing Dragon Ruler, I think, him and his friend, who I think was also at Locals last time. And during that time, oh my god, Dragon Ruler format, so long ago. I was playing Heroes too, but I think I was also playing Infernity at the time. Yeah, I think that's what I was playing something weird back then. But so yeah, he was a cool guy, and apparently he was taking a break from the game for a long, long time, and he barely came back into it. So that's like the only deck he has. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Fine, I understand. I mean, I don't have a problem with people who want to play top tier decks. I really don't think that's an issue whatsoever. But when it's a tier 0 deck and you're playing out of locals, I don't know. That something about that just seems a little off. That's just me though. If you do that, that's perfectly fine. That's it's whoever does it. It's your choice. There is nothing wrong with that. But the fact he told me that was his only deck, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I'm not. That makes sense now. But he was a cool dude. He was a really cool dude, and he actually helped me out. Like I said, I'll do a deck profile for this deck after I get work on the build because I really want to get it perfect to show here for the people. But I'm playing. He managed to hook me up with the Herald of the Orange Light. I actually really needed this thing. Good thing I got hit the one. So because this thing was like even the rare, this one was like $10 when it was at 3. So thank goodness because I was not going to spend 30 bucks just for a set, and then it got hit. So I'm like, okay, cool. So all in all, I'm actually pretty happy with the way I placed at my locals because yes, I only won one round, but I'm gonna be honest, it's because this is my first time playing with Dolces at my locals. My I don't want to go into there and expect to win. It's kind of like if you're going to a big tournament your first time, you shouldn't go in expecting to win right away. Doing so would be arrogant and it's pretty unlikely. So, because this is my first time playing with Dolce there, I really wanted to learn the matchups against everyone else and honestly see the look on everyone's face because they expect me to play heroes and the fact I basically bamboozled them. I don't know, that was just hilarious to me. So, all in all, I really enjoy Madolche. It is a super, super fun deck. And anyone watching it who's considered playing it, it's got a lot of utility, very strong against a lot of different matchups. And because of the crazy Earth support that the deck got with the Vernisylph cards, especially. Oh yeah, the deck has got major power ups because of the Vernisylph engine. Because the Vernisylph engine focuses purely on fairy Earth monsters, and that's all this deck is Earth. And as well as the Yoshizu cards, yes, I'm playing a few just because it empties out my grave. So the deck has a lot of power and utility. So if you're considering trying it out, I say go for it. Later this week, I'm going to come out with a deck analyst on an entire video dedicated to that, and then I'll come back with a deck profile once I'm done tweaking the build a little bit. So if you want to see that, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and let me know, like I said in the comments, what you think of Madolche. Do you play it? What do you think of the deck? And if you played against it, how did you do against it? I'd love to hear it. I reply to every comment I get. And thanks for stopping by. Bye.